To continue looking at chi-squared tests for independence, we're going to look at a very famous data set now, the Titanic data set. So I've got that in here as 2 Titanic.xls. Let's go ahead and open that up and change the dataset name to be Titanic. I bet I'll remember that. Titanic. There we go. And hit run. Now that dataset's going to be available for us. So down here under tasks and utilities, we'll go to table analysis again. We're going to change to using the Titanic data. Actually, we should go back and have a look at that Titanic data real quick. Where was it? Up here. Here's our output data. So we've got a whole bunch of observations of people who either survived, 1, or did not survive, 0. We know whether they were male or female, and we know which port they joined the Titanic at. S for Southampton, C for Cherbourg, and if we go on to over here, Q for Queenstown. Okay, so that's our data. Now onto the table analysis. We've got the Titanic data selected. Let's choose as our row variable whether or not these passengers survived. And for our column variable, we'll first look at gender or sex. Under options here, we've got our chi-squared statistics selected. You could choose one of these percentages if you wanted, but we don't really need it for now. Let's just go ahead and hit run and take a look at our output. So we've got a table of output here. The way we read this is in the first row, we've got the people who didn't survive. That was 127 women and 682 men. For the people who did survive, that consisted of 339 women and 161 men. Okay, so looking at this data, you should immediately be saying, hey, Paul, I don't think gender and survival were independent. It looks like if you were a man, you were much more likely to die. If you were a woman, you were much more likely to survive. And we'll see that borne out in the graphs down here. In the column for women, many more of them survived than didn't. In the column for men, many fewer of them survived than didn't. And so we should expect a very significant chi-squared test of independence here. Looking down here, we've got a chi-squared value of 366 or so, with an associated p-value that's absolutely tiny, much smaller than any significance level we could choose to use. So we're going to conclude that gender and survival were not independent on the Titanic.